Good day to everyone. We are Group 2 from Section A15, and today we will be exploring on Rizal's impact on Filipino national identity. We'll cover his early life and education, his studies and experiences abroad, his role in propaganda movement, and the goals of La Solidaridad. Let's dive into how Rizal's life and work shaped the search for Filipino origin and national consciousness.
Family, childhood, and early education of Jose Rizal. The Mercado Rizal family, who has 13 members. Let's start with Francisco Ingracio Mercado, the father of Jose Rizal, born in 1818 and died in 1898, who studied Latin and philosophy. Teodora Alonso Realon, mother of Jose Rizal, who established their family name and wealth. It is Jose's first teacher and born in 1827 and died in 1913. Saturnina Mercado Rizal is the eldest sibling of Jose Rizal, with the pet name of Neneng and married Manuel Timoteo Hidalgo, born in 1850 and died in 1913. Pasiano Mercado Rizal, the second child and the only brother of Jose. After his younger brother's execution, he joined the Philippine Revolution and became a combat general. After the revolution, he retired to his farm in Los Baños, where he lived as a gentleman farmer. Born in 1851 and died in 1930. Narcisa Mercado Rizal, the third child, married Antonio Lopez, nephew of Father Leoncio Lopez, born in 1852 and died in 1939. Olympia Mercado Rizal, the fourth child, married Sylvester Ubaldo, born in 1855 and died in 1887. Lucia Mercado Rizal, the fifth child, married Matriana Herbosa and born in 1857, died in 1919. Before Jose is Maria Mercado Rizal, sixth child, married Daniel Faustino Cruz, born in 1859, died in 1945. Next to Jose is Concepcion Mercado Rizal, the eighth child, died at the age of 3 cause of sickness. Born in 1865, died in 19. Born in 1862, died in 1865. Josefa Mercado Rizal, the ninth child. She has epilepsy and has no spouse. Born in 1865, died in 1945. Trinidad Mercado Rizal, the tenth child and has no spouse. The last family to die. Soledad Mercado Rizal, the youngest child and married Pantaleon Quintero. Where did the surname Rizal come from when Jose Rizal's father's surname was Mercado? Rizal opted to study in Spain secretly in May 1882, and his departure was kept secret from Spanish officials, friars, and even his parents, notably his mother, who would not allow Rizal to go to Spain. Pasiano Rizal was the only one who knew where he was going and who assisted him in traveling to Spain. Pasiano pretends to glance at his brother and saves time so that his brother can leave for Spain right away. To avoid complications, upon his departure, Jose changed his surname to Rizal.
Jose Rizal's childhood. June 22, 1861, he was baptized Jose Rizal Mercado at the Catholic Calamba by parish priest Rev. Rufino Colantes, with Rev. Pedro Casañas as the sponsor. When Jose Rizal was 4 years old, 1865, his sister Concepcion, the eighth child in the Rizal family, died at the age of 3. During 1865 and 8 to 1867, the young Rizal was taught to read and write by his mother. With his father on June 6, 1868, Rizal made a pilgrimage to Antipolo to fulfill the vow made by his mother to take the child to the shrine of the Virgin Antipolo, where they survived the ordeal of delivery, which nearly cost his mother's life. At the age of 8, 1869, Rizal wrote his first poem entitled Sa Aking Mga Kabata. The poem was written in Tagalog. Early education. Jose Rizal's first teacher was his mother, who had taught him how to read and pray. His mother was also one to encourage him to write poetry. Before the young Rizal was sent to a private school in Binan, Laguna. Private tutors taught him Latin and Spanish. Rizal entered Ateneo Municipal de Manila at 11 years old, where he earned excellent remarks in subjects physics, chemistry, philosophy, and natural history. At this school, he wrote novels, wrote prize-winning poetry, and practiced drawing, painting, and clay modeling.
Now for Rizal's higher education and life abroad. On 1872, specifically June 10, 1872, Jose Rizal went to Manila and took his entrance exam at the College of San Juan de Letran, and he was able to pass it. However, his father wanted him to study in Letran, but later on changed his mind and decided to send Jose Rizal to Ateneo de Municipal instead. At first, he was refused to study at Ateneo because he was late for registration and undersized for his age, which was he was 11 at the time. However, with the intercession of Manuel Burgos, the nephew of Father Burgos, Jose Rizal was then admitted to Ateneo. He then enrolled in the Bachelor of Arts program and met various professors of painting, drawing, and sculpting. His father's his first teacher in Ateneo was Father Jose Beck. Jose Rizal was placed at the bottom of the class since he was a newcomer and knows only a little about Spanish. He renowned as the brightest student in the class and took private lessons at Colegio de Santa Isabel.
So in 1873, Jose Rizal repented for having neglected his studies the previous year. That is why he studied harder this year, regained his leadership composure, and became an emperor again. And he mastered 22 languages like Catalan, Chinese, English, French, German, Greek, Hebrew, Japanese, Latin, Malay, Sanskrit, Spanish, Tagalog, and other Philippine languages.
And in 1874, he frequently visits his mother in her prison cell during vacation and was set free after 3 months following Rizal's prophecy. And he maintained excellent grades and won a single medal in Latin. He failed to win a medal in Spanish because he wasn't good at speaking the language. He was defeated by a Spaniard who delivered it fluency and right accentuation.
And in June 16, the following year, 1875, he became a boarder in Ateneo. Jose Rizal acquired the title of Roman or Interno with the aid of Father Francisco de Paula, who influenced and inspired him to study and write poetry. In the end, he topped all his classmates in all subjects and won 5 medals at the end of the school year.
And on 1876, Jose Rizal became a member of the Marian Congregation Academy for Spanish Literature and National Sciences. He then sculpted the image of Virgin Mary in a batahuling wood and the Sacred Heart of Jesus.
In March 23, 1877, he graduated with highest honors in the Ateneo Municipal. He also received the degree of Bachelor of Arts, and in April 1877, he enrolled in philosophy and letters courses at the University of Santo Tomas because his father likes it and he was still uncertain as what career to pursue.
And on 1878, next slide please. Jose Rizal decides to shift courses from philosophy to medicine because of his mother's failing eyesight. Rizal passed the licensing exam in the land surveying but was granted a license in 1881. He then experienced the first taste of brutality of the Spaniards in UST.
In 1879, Jose Rizal became the active literary activities in UST, notably winning first prize in a literary contest organized by Liceo Artístico Literario for his poem A la Juventud Filipina.
And during 1880, Jose Rizal won first prize for his allegorical play El Consejo de los Dioses, continued his medical studies at UST, then he explored social issues through essays like Sobre la Indolencia de los Filipinos, and grew increasingly delusional with discriminatory educational system.
And for the last one, in 1881, following year, November 25, Jose Rizal was given the title of Perito Agrimensor or Expert Surveyor for passing the final examination in the surveying course. Now, next up, we have the life abroad of Jose Rizal.
In 1882, on May 3, Rizal went to Spain to continue his studies. On June 16, he arrived in Barcelona. And on November 3, he studied medicine and philosophy at Universidad Central de Madrid. While on 1883, he traveled to Paris, France to observe medical practice. On 1884, he earned licentiate in medicine at University of Madrid, while on June 1884, he won the first prize with the La Juventud Filipina, a poem to the Filipino youth. In 1885, he finished his studies and traveled to Paris. He worked at Dr. Louis de Becker's clinic to specialize in ophthalmology. While on 1886, on February, under Dr. Otto Becker, he moved to Heidelberg, Germany to complete his specialization in ophthalmology by working at the University Eye Hospital. On April, he moved to Wilhelmsfeld, Germany to honor the invitation of Reverend Karl Ullmann. On August 1886, he visited Leipzig and Dresden, Germany. He visited a place so that Filipinos will have knowledge about the story of the champion of Swiss independence. And also, on this year, he began writing his first novel, Noli Me Tangere. In March 1887, he published Noli Me Tangere in Berlin, Germany. And on July 3, he returned to the Philippines after 5 years to bring copies of Noli Me Tangere. While in February 1888, Rizal decided to depart from the Philippines once more due to many threats from Spanish authorities and also to save his family in France from him. While from February to May 1888, he traveled to Japan, USA, London, and England. In 1889, while working on the annotations of Antonio de Morga's Successes de las Islas Filipinas, he also published La Solidaridad at Barcelona. On February 1889, he moved to Paris to continue his work on Filipino social and political issues. 1890, when he relocated to Brussels to save money while working on El Filibusterismo, his second book. September 1891, he published El Filibusterismo at Ghent, Belgium. While on October, while traveling to Hong Kong, he was not able to write his third book that was intended for the Filipino readers. And on June 1892, when Rizal made his last trip back to the Philippines, he found La Liga Filipina, which encourages peaceful change. And this was the last time he traveled because on December 30, 1896, he was executed.
Rizal and the propaganda movement. The beginning of the propaganda movement began in 1872 to 1892 in the Philippines, emerged as a direct response to the oppressive conditions of the Spanish colonial rule, with the goal of advocating for reforms that would ensure Filipinos' rights and equality. It was driven by a growing sense of national identity among the educated elite who sought political representation and social progress. The movement aimed to integrate the Philippines as an autonomous overseas province of Spain, showcasing Filipino contributions in art, ideas, and leadership. Although centered mostly in Spain and lasting only until the early 1890s, the movement played a pivotal role in challenging Spanish depictions of Filipinos as fragmented, racially inferior, and incapable of self-governance. Emergence of national identity. Rizal and other Filipino intellectuals known as the Ilustrados played a crucial role in the emergence of national Filipino identity. They consulted 17th century texts to better understand pre-Spanish Filipino religion and history, and Rizal, in particular, refuted the prejudiced views of Spanish writers by annotating Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas by Antonio Morga, demonstrating that Filipinos had a developed culture even before Spanish colonization. Significance of Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo. Rizal's literary works, Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, expose the abuses of Spanish clergy and colonial government in the Philippines. These novels inspired reformists and sparked outrage among Filipinos. Rizal also wrote essays abroad, such as The Philippines a Century Hence, The Indolence of the Filipinos, and Letter to the Women of Malolos.
La Liga Filipina. In 1892, Jose Rizal proposed the creation of La Liga Filipina, a civic organization in the Philippines. The organization was elected with Rizal as its advisor. However, the Spanish officials felt threatened, leading to Rizal's secret arrest and deportation on July 6, 1983. Only 3 days after La Liga Filipina's establishment, the organization membership shifted, with some members supporting the propaganda movement and others believing in a bloody revolution for change. In order to help achieve its goals, the propaganda movement also puts up its own newspapers called La Solidaridad. Challenges faced by the movement. The propaganda movement encountered numerous significant challenges, including financial constraints, political opposition, and a lack of international support. Despite its attempts to garner the support of Spanish liberals and European reformists, the movement struggled to secure consistent backing. Furthermore, its exclusive nature resulted in limited engagement with broader Filipino population. The Spanish government displayed little interest in the conditions in the Philippines, leading to the exile of many movement leaders or labeling them as rebels. Despite these obstacles impeding the movement's effectiveness, they nonetheless contributed to a burgeoning political awareness that influenced the nationalist revolution of 1896. The fall down of the propaganda movement. The propaganda movement aiming for reforms faced resistance from the colonial government and suffered setbacks after Rizal's arrest and the collapse of the Liga Filipina. La Solidaridad ceased operations in November 1895, and the movement split between advocates of peaceful reform and those favoring revolution. Hindered by international tensions, lack of funds, and a lack of charismatic leadership apart from Jose Rizal, the movement struggled to unite and make substantial progress. The Spanish refusal to allow genuine reform led to a shift in initiative toward those seeking national independence. The group's upper middle class status necessitated caution to safeguard personal interests, and the absence of a unifying leader exacerbated the challenges.
As we proceed to one of the breakthroughs of the propaganda movement, the early journalism attempts will be discussed for today's topic. La Solidaridad was a Spanish-language newspaper and organization founded in Spain on February 15, 1889 by Galicano Apacible, Jose Mapanganiban, Mariano Ponce, Pablo Rianzares Bautista, and Santiago Icasiano. A respected Philippine newspaper that championed the liberal views of the Filipino propaganda movement, which sought reforms in the Spanish colony of the Philippines. The first issue of the newspaper appeared on February 15, 1889, under the editorship of Graciano Lopez Jaina. His record was transferred to Madrid and was later passed to the directorship of Marcelo H. Del Pilar on the sign that appeared on November 15, 1889. So what is the purpose of La Solidaridad? The purpose is to inform the Spanish government about the situation in the Philippines. The newspaper provides information about the conditions and events occurring in the Philippines, hoping to raise awareness among Spanish authorities and influence their decisions. It also sought to uncover and bring attention to the mistreatment and exploitation by Spanish friars who held significant power and were often involved in corrupt practices. Lastly, the newspaper was a platform for promoting changes needed to improve Filipino society and governance, pushing for significant political and social reforms. We will also tackle about the reforms advocated under the leadership of Marcelo H. Del Pilar. Firstly, establishment of parish councils. This aimed to decentralize religious and administrative control from the friars, giving local communities more say in their own affairs. Second reform is freedom of expression, advocating for the right to freely express opinions and ideas without censorship or fear of reprisal.
Next is integration of the Spanish province. This reform sought to formally incorporate the Philippines as a province of Spain, which would grant it more rights and representation with the Spanish political system. Fourth reform is representation in the Spanish Cortes, calling for Filipino representation in the Spanish legislative body, ensuring that the interests of Filipinos were considered in legislative decisions. And last reform is Filipino participation in government, pushing for greater involvement of Filipinos in the administration and decision-making processes, which would help address their needs and concerns more effectively. Through his writings, Rizal articulated his vision for a reformed and more equitable society. His works provided intellectual and moral support to the reform movement. Rizal used the newspaper to advocate for the rights and welfare of Filipinos, helping to shape public opinion and galvanize support for the reform agenda.
Moving on, we will tackle about the aims or the objectives of the newspaper. The objectives of La Solidaridad were outlined on the front page of its first issue. First is fight against reactionary forces and resist any steps backward. La Solidaridad aimed to oppose reactionary forces that sought to maintain the status quo or revert to outdated oppressive practices. This included challenging any attempts to reinforce the marginalization of Filipinos who were derogatorily referred to as Indios by the Spanish authorities. Second objective is support and promote liberal ideas and progress in politics, science, arts, literature, commerce, agriculture, and industry. This objective reflects the publication's commitment to advancing liberal ideas across the various sectors of society. La Solidaridad sought to encourage progressive thought and innovation, not just in politics, but also in science, arts, literature, commerce, agriculture, and industry. Third objective is focus on the Philippines, advocating for its representation in the Spanish Cortes and the defense of democracy, opposing the dominance or theocracy and conservatism. A central focus of La Solidaridad was the Philippines, which was a Spanish colony at the time. The newspaper strongly advocated for the Philippines to have representation in the Spanish Cortes, or known as Parliament, which was a significant step towards recognizing the rights and voices of Filipinos. Additionally, the publication emphasized the importance of defending democracy in the Philippines. Fourth objective is align with anti-clerical Republican parties in Spain, advocating for the full application of Spanish law and rights to the Philippines, reflecting the aspirations of the Filipino people. La Solidaridad associated itself with anti-clerical Republican parties in Spain, which opposed the excessive influence of the Catholic Church in government affairs. By aligning with these parties, the newspaper advocated for the application of Spanish laws and rights in the Philippines, ensuring that Filipinos were treated fairly and equally under the law. This alignment with Republican and anti-clerical ideals also reflected the broader aspirations of the Filipino people for justice, secular governance, and equality.
And La Solidaridad had several purposes beyond what was mentioned on the first page of their newspaper. Some of these include first, propaganda campaign. La Solidaridad used its newspaper to spread information about how Filipinos were being treated unfairly by the Spanish rulers. They aimed to show the world what was happening and gain support from people both in the Philippines and abroad who wanted to see justice and change. Promote Filipino nationalism. The group wanted Filipinos to feel proud of their country and their identity. They believed that uniting and recognizing their shared culture, Filipinos could work together more effectively to seek their rights and their independence. Support for secularization. La Solidaridad pushed for Filipinos priests to take leadership roles in local churches instead of only Spanish priests being in charge. They thought that Filipino priests could better serve their communities and help strengthen local religious and cultural connections. Push for educational reforms. The group aimed to improve the educational system to make it more fair and accessible for all Filipinos. They wanted to ensure that education was of good quality and available to more people, which would help in personal and national development. And last is build international awareness. La Solidaridad aimed to inform people around the world about the difficulties Filipinos faced under the Spanish rule. By raising global awareness, they hope to gain support from other countries and international communities to help with their struggle for change. That's all. Salamat and thank you for listening.